This is Go-MMT Radio.
Go-MMT Radio. Let's go.
Powered by Make My Trip, Go IBBO and Redbus.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Go-MMT Radio. मेरा नाम है सोनू and today is 28th of February. We have lined up something very, very special. It's something that we have not done before. It's going to be a series of conversations with somebody very, very important. In fact, I think I'm very excited for this because it's been in the planning phase for quite some time, and finally we're very, very excited to bring this to you. It's going to be a dialogue on diversity. This is our special running up to the Women's Day, and with me joining will be Sreemoyee Sengupta. She is the VP SME DEI, and she champions and aims to build workplace cultures that are engaging, productive and inclusive. And her strength lies in being able to look at culture building and transformation holistically from the perspective of an HR leader and also that of an advisor. Having been on both sides, she is quick to identify needs and provide impactful solutions. She is also passionate about curating highly effective programs, and her background in applied psychology allows her to create the outcomes client organizations need. Sreemoyee will be joining us in a little while from now, but before that, it's important for you to know where she is coming from as well. Her experience in HR has been gathered across industries like hospitality, not-for-profit, media and entertainment, and professional services. While she has led talent management for Teach for India, she has led human resources function at organizations like OML Entertainment Private Limited, Great Place to Work at India, and Rainshine Entertainment. She's going to be joining us in a little while from now, तो कहीं मत जाइए, सुनते रहिए Go MMT Radio. मेरा नाम है सोनू.
रंग बरसे भीगे चुनर वाली रंग बरसे, अरे कीने मारी पिचकारी तोरी भीगी अंगिया, रंग रसिया मन बसिया हो. रंग बरसे भीगे चुनर वाली रंग बरसे, ओ रंग बरसे भीगे चुनर वाली रंग बरसे, ओ रंग बरसे भीगे चुनर वाली रंग बरसे. सोने की थारी में जो ना परोसा, अरे सोने की थारी में, हाँ सोने की थारी में जो ना परोसा, अरे खाए गोरी का यार बलम तरसे रंग बरसे, ओ रंग बरसे भीगे चुनर वाली रंग बरसे.
Do me a favor, let's play Holi.
रुको जरा, सबर करो.
होली 8 मार्च को है तो गो ट्रिपर्स, क्या प्लान्स है होली पर इस बार?
And welcome back to a brand new episode of Go-MMT Radio. As I told you before, this week is going to be a very, very special series. Now we are joined by Sreemoyee. She's the Vice President, Subject Matter Expert and DEI at Rainmaker. She champions and aims to build workplace cultures that are engaging, productive, and inclusive. And she comes with over 11 years of experience in human resources. Her strength lies in being able to look at culture building, transformation holistically from the perspective of an HR leader and also that of an advisor. Sreemoyee, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you, Sonu. I'm very well. How are you?
I am very well, very excited for this entire week because this is something that we are doing for the first time. It's dialogue on diversity, something that we keep talking when it comes to companies. And today we are going to talk about diversity. So let us start with the first question. I, of course, have introduced our listeners to you, but we would like to know a little bit more about you and, of course, your experience of being a woman in the Indian corporate world.
Sure. First off, of course, Sonu, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be talking about diversity at the workplace. And I'm very excited that we have a group of people who are interested in listening to and discussing topics such as this. Mm-hmm. Coming to your question, Sonu, my work experience, like you've mentioned, has entirely been in the space of people and culture. And interestingly, it's been across different industries. So I've worked with very different kinds of people. I've had the opportunity to be able to work with various kinds of people. And it's been very interesting because that's given me a lot of perspective about being a woman at the workplace. Mm-hmm. I've worked in organizations where I was aware of the limitations of being a woman. And I've worked with leaders who support you to be more than what your gender is meant to be. And they push you to achieve more than what you could have possibly even imagined for yourself.
Right. Sreemoyee, we kind of know a little bit about you. And I think we as a country are so diverse. More often than not, what happens is every workplace ends up being extremely diverse because of the backgrounds that all of us come from. But tell me, what does diversity look like in the Indian workplace today?
Given that we're having this conversation around International Women's Day, let's talk about women at the workplace, right?
Right.
In 2021, the labor force participation rate of women in India was just at about 19%. That's it. And did you know, Sonu, that women hold only 15% of C-suite roles in India? That's far below the global average.
Right.
And it only gets harder and harder when we become aware of intersectionality and the massive impact that it has on women's experiences at the workplace.
Right.
So my short answer, it's incredible that conversations around gender and inclusion have become more and more common in Indian workplaces. Mm-hmm. These conversations will hopefully convert into real impact that makes India Inc. far more gender diverse and inclusive. But there's a lot of work that we have to collectively put in before we get there.
Mm-hmm. You said the entire situation is a bit worrisome. So if you could dwell into that a little bit and if you could list out what could be the reason for the current diversity situation.
But the answer to that, Sonu, is actually not as simple as it might seem, right? Mm-hmm. There are multiple economic and social factors that affect the decision of and the ability of women to be able to participate in the formal workforce. Right. And these factors actually interact both at the household and at the macro level.
Right.
A report by Oxfam last year confirmed that the low participation of women in India's labor force is largely due to gender discrimination in some very specific areas of experience in the workplace. Mm-hmm. Obviously not much of a surprise, but it also found that a sizable segment of qualified women were unwilling to join the labor market because of family responsibilities and the need to conform to social norms.
Right.
In fact, in developing countries like India, very interestingly, there's a demonstrated preference for home-based work opportunities that allow women to be able to balance their domestic duties with income-generating activities, right? In Indian women's employment-related decisions are largely shaped by considerations of either caregiving priorities as far as children are concerned or balancing their preferences with familial expectations. So there's a lot of cultural elements, especially the gender roles that are normalized and upheld in our culture that determine what kind of decisions women may eventually take or want to take with regard to their work. So it's a very complicated cycle of exclusion, and it possibly needs a far deeper discussion to really understand.
Sreemoyee, I think we do get a brief idea about the general diversity situation at workplaces. But here's something that I am extremely interested in knowing. Why is it that such an important topic of conversation in Indian workplaces today? Leaders are talking a lot. They are getting involved far more than they used to before in conversations around women at workplace. So what do you think has changed?
So some of the benefits of creating a diverse and inclusive workplace are very well known now, right? We're all, that's one of the reasons why we're all very well aware of the fact that these are very relevant conversations at the workplace. Inclusion has been known to have an impact on innovation and productivity in organizations. In fact, studies have actually shown the link between gender diverse workforces and business performance. So the need for gender diversity isn't really a debate anymore, if you ask me.
Right.
And leaders are actively getting involved because they've realized that if they aren't catching up, then they're losing out on both the best talent and the potential business outcomes they could have otherwise achieved. The talent market, and leaders are realizing this more and more. A lot of them are pioneering a lot of actions in this regard, but leaders are realizing that the talent market is just as demanding today as a customer market.
Right.
It's very important for organizations to ensure that they're welcoming of and actively including everyone so that they continue to attract the best people. But now what organizations have also come to realize is that if they aren't being inclusive, they are missing out on the talents and abilities of a significant part of our population.
Right.
Better diversity ratios indicate that there could be a better combination of skills and abilities represented amongst employees. So your organization is likely to be well-rounded in terms of talent and capabilities if you're diverse.
Right.
And a more gender diverse workforce also means that there's a representation of multiple perspectives, experiences, and ways of working, which is where the innovation levels I mentioned earlier come into play.
Right.
And gender diverse workforce allows the company to serve an increasingly diverse customer base. And all of this put together makes gender diversity a leadership conversation. In fact, in more and more organizations, it's becoming a board level conversation as well. So as a result of this attention being given to gender diversity, organizations are becoming increasingly aware of and discussing something called non-conscious biases that come into play and impact making decisions. And I'd love for us to discuss one of these during the series of conversations we're going to have this week. One of these which is around gender bias that's so relevant to our current conversation.
Right, of course. And I think we're going to do that in our next episode. So for today's episode, that's it. That's it from me and Sreemoyee. But we are going to be joined by Sreemoyee once again for our tomorrow's episode. So I guess it's going to be a lot of conversation about the bias and all of that. I think we'll try to get as many answers as possible because we know how busy Sreemoyee is, and this is our chance to know a little bit more about all these policies. So we are looking forward to that. Sreemoyee, thank you so much for joining us for today. And then we're looking forward to have you tomorrow on the show as well.
Thank you so much, Sonu. I'm looking forward to being here as well.
Right. And that's it from us. Until we meet next time, stay healthy, stay safe, and keep smiling. If you have any kind of feedback about the show, you can email us at go@mmt.com. Until we meet next time, this is me, Sonu, signing off.
होली कब है? योगी, ये कौन बोला? होली कब है? कब है होली? अरे ओ सांबा, होली कब है? होली खेले रघुवीरा। साला नौटंकी, खड़ी ड्रामा करता है। होली कब है? कब है होली?
8 मार्च को है।
अब आएगा मजा।
On Go-MMT Radio.
Hello, Go-Trippers! This is Ranveer Singh and you are listening to Go-MMT Radio. Head, set, go!
To listen to your favorite Go-MMT radio from anywhere, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn and Instagram. Visit the Go-MMT radio page for daily updates and enjoy listening to your favorite radio channel.